The day I caught my sister-in-law stealing my designs, I was wearing my lucky red blazer. Funny how you remember little details like that when your whole world crashes down. I'm Rachel, and until 6 months ago, I thought I had it all figured out. My sustainable fashion brand was about to launch its breakthrough collection. My relationship with my brother Pierce was stronger than ever, and I actually believed Sophia, his wife of 2 years, was the sister I never had. Rachel, you have to see this. Mallory burst into my office, her face pale. She thrust her phone in front of me, her hands shaking. It just went live 10 minutes ago. The Instagram post showed Sophia, perfectly posed in a studio, surrounded by clothing racks. The caption read, "Excited to announce our new sustainable fashion line, 2 years in the making, launching next month." My stomach dropped. The designs in the background, they were mine, every single one of them. "That's impossible," I whispered, zooming in on the images. "Those are my sketches, my patterns, my—" I stopped cold when I saw Pierce in one of the photos, beaming proudly beside his wife. "I've already called legal," Mallory said, squeezing my shoulder. My phone buzzed. Hadley's name flashed on the screen. "Rachel, tell me you're seeing this." "I am." My voice sounded hollow, even to myself. "I need to talk to Pierce." "Don't do anything rash." I hung up and dialed Pierce's number. He answered on the first ring. "Hey sis, I guess you saw the announcement? We were going to tell you in person, but Sophia was too excited to wait." "Pierce," I cut him off, my voice trembling. "Those are my designs." Silence. "What are you talking about?" He laughed nervously. "Sophia's been working on these for years." "Really? Then why do they look exactly like the sketches I showed her last Christmas? The ones from my private collection? The ones she swore to keep confidential?" More silence. "Rachel, there must be some mistake. Is Sophia there?" I heard muffled voices, then Sophia's smooth, practiced tone. "Rachel, isn't this exciting? We're practically fashion sisters now." "Cut the act," I snapped. "You stole my designs, my entire collection. That's a serious accusation." Sophia's voice turned cold. "I've documented my entire creative process, every sketch, every prototype, dated and witnessed. Can you say the same?" My blood ran cold. Of course she had. She'd planned this all along. "I trusted you," I said, my voice breaking. "Both of you." "Rachel, please," Pierce cut in. "Let's talk about this. I showed you everything," I continued, memories flooding back. "The sustainable fabric sourcing, the zero-waste patterns, the ethical manufacturing contacts. You weren't asking because you cared. You were gathering intel. You can't prove anything," Sophia said quietly. "And Pierce believes in me. Don't make this messy, Rachel. It's just business." The line went dead. I sat there, staring at my phone, as tears rolled down my cheeks. Mallory appeared with a glass of water and a determined look in her eyes. "I just got off the phone with Clark," she said. "He wants to meet first thing tomorrow. Says he might have a way to fight this." My computer pinged with a new email. The subject line read, "Cease and desist. Intellectual property infringement." "They're trying to sue me," I laughed bitterly, scanning the legal document. "They're actually trying to sue me for my own designs." My phone buzzed again. Hadley. "I'm coming over," she said before I could speak. "Don't do anything. Don't post anything. Don't call them again. We're gonna fix this." I looked around my office, at the mood boards, the fabric swatches, the countless sketches that represented 5 years of my life's work. Everything I'd built, everything I'd dreamed of, stolen by family. "Rachel?" Mallory's voice was gentle. "What do you want to do?" I stood up, wiping my tears, and straightened my lucky red blazer. "I want to destroy them," I said quietly. "Not just legally, not just professionally. I want them to feel exactly what I'm feeling right now. And then I want them to regret ever crossing paths with me. Mallory nodded, already typing on her tablet. Then let's get to work. I didn't know it then, but that moment, standing in my office in that red blazer, betrayed by my own blood, would mark the beginning of the most challenging and transformative year of my life. Sometimes you have to lose everything to discover what you're truly capable of. And believe me, I was about to show everyone exactly what that meant. 3 weeks after the betrayal, I sat in a downtown coffee shop staring at my laptop screen. Another investor had pulled out. That made 5. They're scared of the legal battle, Hadley said, sliding into the seat across from me. Sophia's family has deep pockets and a reputation for dragging things out in court. I know. I closed my laptop. The dark circles under my eyes reflected in its glossy surface. That's exactly what they want, to drain me dry before I can even fight back. But we have options. Hadley pushed a folder across the table. Clark's been making calls. There are still people willing to back you. I flipped through the documents, my heart sinking with each page. These terms are terrible. They want controlling interest. It's better than bankruptcy. Is it? I looked up at her. Trading one form of theft for another? The barista called out my name. As I stood to get my coffee, my phone buzzed. Pierce's number. I declined the call, the 20th one this week. He's still trying to reach you? Hadley asked when I returned. Says he wants to explain that Sophia had proof of her designs predating mine. I stirred my coffee violently. Proof she fabricated, but he's too love-blind to see it. Ms. Wilkinson? A voice interrupted us. I turned to see Mallory, looking more energized than I'd seen her in weeks. Sorry to interrupt your coffee, but you need to see this. She placed her tablet on the table. On screen was Sophia's latest Instagram post, a behind-the-scenes video of their upcoming fashion show. Look at the stitching on that sample, Mallory pointed. They're having production issues, major ones. I leaned in closer. The supposedly sustainable seams were coming apart. The ethical fabric they'd claimed to source was clearly inferior quality. They rushed production, I said, a small smile forming. They have the designs, but not the expertise to execute them properly. Exactly, Mallory's eyes sparkled. And that's not all. I've been tracking their supplier chain. They can't deliver on their sustainability promises. The whole marketing campaign is built on lies. My phone buzzed again. Pierce, answer it, Hadley urged. This time, record everything. I took a deep breath and swiped right. Hello, Pierce. Rachel, please, we need to talk. His voice was strained. Things they're not going as planned. Really? The stolen designs aren't working out. They're not stolen. Sophia had... Save it. I cut him off. I saw your production samples. Having trouble with those sustainable seams? The ones I spent 2 years perfecting? Silence. That's what I thought. I continued, my voice steady. You know what the funny thing is, Pierce? If you just asked, I would have helped you, both of you. But instead, we can still fix this, he interrupted. Sophia's willing to credit you as a consultant. We'll pay you. I laughed, the sound harsh even to my ears. You still don't get it, do you? This was never about money. Then what do you want? I want you to fail, I said quietly. I want every buyer, every investor, every fashion editor to see exactly who you and Sophia really are. The line went dead. Well, Hadley broke the tense silence. That was intense. And exactly what we needed, Mallory added, already typing. I recorded everything, combined with the production issues and their false marketing claims. We can't afford a legal battle, I reminded her. No, she agreed, but we can afford to start over, the right way. She turned her tablet around, showing me a new business plan. Clark's been working on this, a smaller launch, focused on quality over quantity. We use your expertise to build something they can't copy. And this time, Hadley added, we document everything, every sketch, every sample, every meeting. We build a fortress they can't penetrate. My phone buzzed one final time. A text from Pierce. You're making a mistake. Family should come first. I showed the message to Hadley, who snorted. Funny how family only matters when they need something from you. Speaking of family, Mallory cleared her throat. Your mother called the office again. She wants you to fix things before Sophia's fashion show next week. I stood up, gathering my things. Tell her I'll fix things all right, just not the way she expects. Rachel? Hadley caught my arm. What are you planning? I smiled, feeling truly confident for the first time in weeks. They want to play dirty? Fine, but they forgot one thing. I know every flaw in those designs, every weakness, every shortcut they'll be tempted to take. And? And I'm going to use that knowledge to build something better, something real. I shouldered my bag. Call Clark. Tell him I'm ready to meet. The coffee shop door chimed as I pushed it open, stepping into the bright morning sun. Behind me, I heard Mallory whisper to Hadley, should we be worried? No, Hadley replied. We should be excited. The secret isn't in the design, Clark said, pacing his industrial-style office. It's in the story, your story. I looked up from the prototype I was adjusting. My story of being betrayed by my own family? Not exactly marketing gold. No, he stopped in front of my workstation. Your story of resilience, of doing things the right way, even when others took shortcuts. 6 months had passed since Sophia's theft. While their brand rushed to market with flashy campaigns and celebrity endorsements, I'd been working 16-hour days in Clark's workshop, perfecting every detail. Speaking of shortcuts, Mallory burst in, waving her phone. You need to see their latest reviews. She pulled up a fashion blog. The comments section was brutal. Seams falling apart after one wash. False advertising. Nothing sustainable about this. Complete ripoff for the price. Their quality control is non-existent, I muttered, returning to my work. They're trying to mass-produce designs that require specialized handling. Exactly, Clark smiled. And that's our opening. My phone lit up with a notification. An email from the Sustainable Fashion Summit Committee. My hands shook as I opened it. I got in, I whispered. They accepted my application to showcase at next month's event. Hadley, who'd been quietly working in the corner, jumped up. That's huge. All the major buyers and press will be there. So will Sophia and Pierce, Mallory pointed out. Their brand is one of the main sponsors. Even better, Clark said. Rachel, this is your chance. Show everyone the difference between authentic sustainability and greenwashing. I ran my fingers over the fabric of my latest prototype, a dress that could be completely disassembled and recycled at the end of its life. No waste, no shortcuts, no compromises. We'll need to work around the clock to have the collection ready, I said. Already on it, Mallory held up her tablet. I've coordinated with the ethical suppliers you vetted. They're ready to prioritize our order. And I've got the PR angle covered, Hadley added. We'll let the craftsmanship speak for itself. No mudslinging needed. My phone buzzed again. A text from my mother. Sophia's line is being featured in Vogue. Why can't you be happy for your brother's success? Delete it, Hadley said, reading over my shoulder. Focus on what matters. The next 3 weeks became a blur of fittings, adjustments, and meticulous documentation. Every step was photographed, every decision recorded. I wasn't taking any chances this time. The invitation just arrived, Mallory announced one evening as I was finishing the final piece. They're giving you the closing slot. The prime position, Clark nodded approvingly. They must have seen something special in your submission. I stepped back to look at the completed collection. 10 pieces that represented everything I believed in: sustainability, innovation, and integrity. Rachel, Clark's voice turned serious. There's something else you should know. I got a call from Sophia's father today. My stomach tightened. What did he want? To invest. He's heard rumors about your new direction, offered to buy a controlling stake. I laughed. Let me guess. Through a shell company so Sophia wouldn't know? You're not surprised? Their sales are dropping. Returns are up. They need a win. I shook my head. They're desperate enough to try buying what they couldn't steal. What should I tell him? Tell him thanks, but I prefer partners who don't need to hide behind shell companies. Hadley cleared her throat. Since we're sharing news, Pierce called the office again. Says Sophia's been asking about your new collection. They're worried. Good, I said, making a final adjustment to a seam. They should be. Just promise me one thing, Clark said. At the summit, keep it professional. Let your work do the talking. I looked at my team, Hadley with her unwavering support, Mallory with her brilliant strategies, and Clark with his quiet wisdom. They'd stood by me when I had nothing left but determination. I promise, I said. No drama, no accusations, just pure, honest craftsmanship. My phone lit up with another notification. The summit organizers wanted my bio and collection statement for the program. What are you going to call it? Mallory asked. I thought about the journey, the betrayal, the long nights, the lessons learned, about how losing everything had taught me what really mattered. Phoenix, I said finally. We'll call it Phoenix. Perfect. Hadley smiled. Now, let's make sure it rises from these ashes spectacularly. I looked at my reflection in the workshop window, seeing not the exhausted woman who'd lost everything 6 months ago, but someone stronger, wiser, and ready to reclaim her place the right way. 1 month, I said. Let's make it count. The Sustainable Fashion Summit buzzed with energy as I adjusted the last display in my booth. My collection, displayed on minimalist hangers, drew curious glances from early arrivals. They're already talking, Mallory whispered, pretending to check her tablet. 3 buyers asked about your showcase tonight. Sophia's here, Hadley warned, appearing at my other side. 3 o'clock, looking nervous. I didn't turn around. Instead, I straightened a garment tag that detailed its zero-waste construction. How's their booth looking? Empty, Mallory smirked. Their main supplier backed out last minute. Something about unpaid invoices. A familiar voice cut through the crowd. Rachel? I turned to face my brother. Pierce looked tired, his usual confidence replaced by dark circles and wrinkled clothes. You look terrible, I said. Can we talk? Privately? Hadley stepped forward protectively, but I waved her off. 5 minutes, that's all you get. We walked to a quiet corner near the emergency exit. Pierce ran his hands through his disheveled hair. Sophia's father is pulling his investment, he blurted out. Says we're too high risk now. Imagine that, I replied coolly, almost like rushing stolen designs to market was a bad business strategy. They weren't stolen. He stopped himself. Look, I'm not here to argue. We need help. We? I raised an eyebrow. The company's drowning in returns and legal threats. Our sustainability claims. They're being investigated. By the Federal Trade Commission, I finished for him. I know. I filed the complaint. His face paled. You what? Did you really think I wouldn't fight back? That I'd just disappear while you and Sophia profited from my work? Rachel, please. Pierce! Sophia's sharp voice cut him off. She strode toward us, her designer heels clicking against the floor. What are you doing? Apparently begging for help, I answered for him. How's that years of creative development working out for you, Sophia? She flinched but recovered quickly. We had a few production issues. Nothing we can't fix. Really? Is that why your father's pulling out? Sophia's perfectly maintained facade cracked. How did you? No? I smiled. I have friends in the industry, real ones, not people I manipulated and betrayed. Ladies and gentlemen, the summit director's voice boomed over the speakers. Please take your seats. Our first showcase begins in 5 minutes. That's my cue, Sophia said, smoothing her dress. We're presenting first. I know, I replied. I'm closing the show. Funny how things work out, isn't it? She grabbed Pierce's arm. Let's go. Rachel. Pierce turned back. Whatever you're planning. I'm not planning anything, Pierce. I'm just showing my work, my real work. They hurried away as Hadley approached. Everything okay? Better than okay, I said, watching them disappear into the crowd. They're terrified. The next hour passed in a blur of presentations. I watched from the back as Sophia stumbled through her showcase, making vague claims about sustainability that the audience clearly didn't buy. Their sales rep just canceled tomorrow's meetings, Mallory whispered, checking her phone. Says they can't verify any of their environmental claims. Finally, it was my turn. I stood backstage, touching the Phoenix logo on my first piece. Ready? Clark appeared beside me. I've been ready for 6 months. The lights dimmed. The announcer's voice filled the hall. Our final presenter tonight represents the true future of sustainable fashion. I stepped onto the stage, my voice clear and confident. Thank you. I'm Rachel, and this is Phoenix, a collection born from the belief that true sustainability requires more than just promises. For the next 20 minutes, I detailed every innovative feature, every ethical decision, every carefully documented process. The audience leaned forward in their seats, taking notes. Each piece tells a story, I concluded, of resilience, integrity, and the power of doing things right, even when doing things fast might be easier. The applause was thunderous. From the corner of my eye, I saw Sophia and Pierce slip out a side door. As the lights came up, buyers swarmed my booth. Among them was a tall woman with sharp eyes. Impressive presentation, she said, examining a garment. I'm from Nordstrom. We should talk. I'll have my team set up a meeting, I replied, handing her my card. Rachel! Mallory rushed over once the crowd thinned. You've got 6 major buyers wanting appointments, and Women's Wear Daily wants an exclusive. Give them all to Hadley to schedule, I said, then paused. Any word from Sophia and Pierce? They packed up their booth during your presentation, left in a hurry. I nodded, feeling not triumph, but a strange mix of satisfaction and sadness. Send them an email. Tell them I'm willing to meet tomorrow. Are you sure? Yes, I said, watching the last of the audience examine my collection. I think it's time we had an honest conversation about the future. I chose the rooftop restaurant of their hotel for our meeting. Let them come to my territory, but make it seem like a courtesy. Sophia arrived first. Her designer outfit couldn't hide her exhaustion. Pierce trudged in 5 minutes later, looking like he hadn't slept. Thank you for meeting us, Sophia said, sliding into the booth. Her usual confidence was gone, replaced by something closer to desperation. Let's skip the pleasantries, I said, setting my phone on the table, recording app running openly. You're here because you're in trouble. Pierce nodded. The FTC investigation is the least of your problems, I cut in. Your suppliers are backing out. Your investors are running scared, and your customers want refunds. Did I miss anything? We can fix it, Sophia leaned forward. That's why we need your help, your expertise. I took a slow sip of water. Interesting. A few months ago, you said you had years of experience in sustainable fashion. What changed? Rachel, please. Pierce's voice cracked. We're about to lose everything. Like I lost everything? I met his eyes. When you helped your wife steal my designs? Sophia slammed her hand on the table. Fine. Yes, I took your designs. Is that what you want to hear? I saw an opportunity and I took it. Sophia! Pierce looked shocked. Oh, grow up, Pierce, she snapped. You knew. Deep down, you knew. You just didn't want to believe it. The waiter approached, but I waved him away. So now what? I asked. You want me to sweep in and save you? Fix your production issues? Validate your sustainability claims? We'll make you a partner, Sophia said quickly. Equal share. Your name on the brand. I laughed. My own designs, and you're generously offering me a third? 20,000 units are due to retailers next month. Pierce added, if we can't deliver, we're finished. The lawsuits alone will destroy us. Not to mention the criminal charges, I said casually. Fraud, false advertising, intellectual property theft. Sophia's face went pale. You wouldn't. Actually, I would, but I have a better idea. I pulled out a folder and slid it across the table. My terms. They read in silence, their expressions shifting from hope to disbelief to anger. This is insane. Sophia pushed the papers away. You want us to sign over complete control? Not just control, I corrected. I want a public admission of theft, a formal apology, and your resignation from the company. That would destroy our reputation, Sophia protested. Your reputation? I leaned forward. You stole my life's work, tried to ruin my career, and turned my own brother against me. You don't have a reputation to protect anymore. Pierce picked up the papers, reading more carefully. What about me? You can stay on as a silent partner, 20% stake, no management role. Pierce, you can't seriously be considering this. Sophia grabbed his arm. What choice do we have? He asked quietly. We're out of options. I'll give you 24 hours to decide. I stood up. After that, I take everything I know to the press and the authorities. You really hate us that much? Sophia's voice trembled. Actually, I should thank you, I replied. You taught me an invaluable lesson about trust and resilience. Now I'm returning the favor. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Sophia, that creative process documentation you fabricated, next time, check the metadata on the digital files. It's amazing what a good forensic tech can uncover. The elevator ride down was interrupted by Hadley calling. Nordstrom wants to fast-track the deal, she said excitedly. They love the Phoenix concept. Good, I replied, because we might be expanding sooner than planned. They took the deal? They will, I said, stepping into the lobby. They don't have a choice. Rachel, Hadley's voice turned serious. Are you sure about this? Taking over their company means dealing with their mess. I know, but sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying your enemies. I pushed through the revolving door into the bright morning sun. It's forcing them to watch you succeed where they failed. And Pierce, I thought about my brother's defeated expression, the way he'd finally seen through Sophia's manipulation. He made his choice months ago, I said. Now he has to live with the consequences. But at least this way, he gets a chance to learn from them. My phone buzzed with a text from Clark. Buyers meeting in an hour, ready to show them the future of sustainable fashion? I smiled, typing back, absolutely, and I might have just doubled our production capacity. The next 24 hours would change everything, again, but this time I was the one in control. This time, I was ready. They signed, Mallory announced, bursting into the conference room where I was preparing for the buyers' meeting. Just got the confirmation from legal. I kept arranging the fabric samples, maintaining my composure despite my racing heart. Both of them? Sophia tried to negotiate until the last minute. Pierce convinced her to sign. Mallory paused. He's waiting outside, wants to talk. Send him in, I said, straightening my blazer. Then get Hadley to start the press release. Pierce entered, looking more put together than yesterday, but still haunted. It's done. I know, I continued organizing the samples. Sophia? Gone. She's flying to Milan tonight. Says she can't watch this happen. Convenient, I remarked, running away when things get tough. Rachel, Pierce stepped closer. What you said yesterday about me knowing deep down, you were right. I just couldn't admit it. Sit down, Pierce. I finally looked at him. We need to talk about the company's future. He sank into a chair. Our suppliers are threatening legal action. The production facilities. I know. I've seen the books. I pulled out a tablet. You're not just in trouble. You're in free fall. Can you fix it? No, I said simply. But I can rebuild it. There's a difference. His face fell. What does that mean? It means we're shutting down production, recalling everything currently in stores, starting fresh. That'll cost millions. Yes, and it's the only way to salvage any credibility. I showed him the plan I'd prepared. We'll honor all supplier contracts, but under new terms, transparent sourcing, verified sustainability practices. The Phoenix way, he said quietly. Exactly. I pulled up another document. Your 20% stake will be held in trust for a year. If you want to earn back trust, you'll start in quality control. Learn the business properly this time. A knock at the door interrupted us. Hadley entered with Clark. Buyers are here early, she announced, and the press release is ready for your approval. I handed Pierce the tablet. Read it. If you have any objections, now's the time. His eyes scanned the screen, widening at certain points. The release detailed everything: Sophia's theft, the fraudulent documentation, the quality issues. But it also outlined the path forward, with me at the helm. This will destroy her, he whispered. No, I corrected. Her actions destroyed her. This is just the truth finally coming out. Clark cleared his throat. Rachel, the buyers? 1 minute. I turned back to Pierce. Your choice. Sign off on the release. Start rebuilding your reputation through honest work, or join Sophia in Milan. But decide now. Pierce stared at the tablet for a long moment. Then, with a shaking hand, he pressed approve. Smart choice, Clark said. Now, let's go save your company. The next hour was a blur of presentations and negotiations. I showed the buyers our new direction, explaining how we'd transform the failed brand into something authentic. These production issues, one buyer interrupted. How can we trust they won't happen again? Because this time, I replied, we're doing it right. Full transparency, proper quality control, and most importantly, no shortcuts. And the original designs? Another asked. The ones that were borrowed? Will be relaunched under the Phoenix label, I explained, properly executed with documented sustainable practices. By the time the meeting ended, we had conditional commitments from 3 major retailers. As the buyers filed out, Hadley checked her phone. Press release is live, she announced. Social media's exploding. Sophia's already deleted her accounts. Any word from her father? I asked. His office called. Wants to discuss maintaining his investment under the new structure. I shook my head. Tell him we'll consider it after a full audit of his involvement in the original theft. Pierce, who had sat silently through the meetings, finally spoke. What do you need me to do? Start by calling our suppliers. Personally apologize for the payment delays. Then report to Clark tomorrow morning. He'll show you how proper quality control works. That's it? For now. I gathered my materials. Prove yourself trustworthy again, and we'll talk about expanding your role. As I headed for the door, he called out, Rachel, thank you for not completely destroying us. I paused. I'm not doing this for you, Pierce, or for Sophia. I'm doing it because these designs deserve to be made right. The workers deserve fair treatment. The customers deserve quality. And Sophia, we'll learn that karma doesn't need my help. I checked my watch. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a company to rebuild. Outside, the afternoon sun caught the Phoenix logo on our new business cards. Sometimes, I realized, the best revenge isn't about destroying what others built. It's about building something better from their mistakes. The day of the official relaunch, I arrived at our flagship store 2 hours early. The windows showcased my original designs, properly executed this time, each with a QR code linking to its sustainable production journey. Press is already lining up, Mallory said, joining me at the window. And you've got a visitor. I turned to see Sophia standing in the doorway, looking less polished than I remembered. Her designer outfit was wrinkled, her makeup slightly smudged. "You're not supposed to be here," I said calmly. "I saw the collection online," she replied, stepping inside. It's exactly how you originally designed it. That's what happens when you have the actual expertise to execute the designs you claim are yours." She flinched. "I came to apologize." "Really?" I crossed my arms. "Or did you come to see how I fixed your mess?" "Both," she admitted. "Milan was enlightening. No one would touch me after the press release. Your reputation in the industry is stronger than I realized." "The truth usually is." She walked to a display, touching one of the garments. "The quality is perfect, even better than your original samples. Because now I have the resources to do it right." I moved the garment away from her hand. "The resources you tried to steal." "Rachel." She turned to face me. "What if we—" "Don't," I cut her off. "Whatever scheme you're about to propose, save it. You're done in this industry. You can't just—" "Actually, I can. And I did." I pulled out my phone, showing her the latest industry news. "Three major fashion houses just blacklisted you. Turns out, no one wants to work with someone who steals designs and fakes sustainability credentials." Tears welled in her eyes. "Pierce won't even talk to me anymore. He's busy learning the business properly, something you should have done." "Ms. Wilkinson?" A staff member approached. "The camera crews are setting up outside. I'll be right there." I turned back to Sophia. "You need to leave, now." "This was my dream too, you know," she said quietly. "No," I corrected her. "Your dream was success at any cost. Mine was creating something meaningful. That's why you failed and I didn't." As security escorted her out, Hadley rushed in. "You won't believe who just arrived. Vogue, the actual editor-in-chief." The next hour was a whirlwind of interviews, photos, and demonstrations. I showed the press every aspect of our transparent production process, the ethical labor practices, the zero-waste initiatives. "And what about the previous owners?" one reporter asked. "Any comment on their current situation?" "We're focused on the future," I replied diplomatically, "on proving that sustainable fashion can be both ethical and excellent." Pierce appeared at the back of the crowd, wearing the quality control team uniform, quietly taking notes on his tablet. "Your brother works for you now?" Another reporter noticed him. "Everyone here earns their position," I said firmly. "Family ties don't grant special privileges." After the interviews, Clark pulled me aside. "Sophia's father called again, offered to buy back his daughter's share. Tell him the shares aren't for sale, at any price." "Already did," he smiled. "You know, when you first came to me after the theft, I thought you wanted revenge. But this is better." "This isn't revenge," I said, watching customers stream into the store as we officially opened. "This is justice." Mallory appeared with sales figures from our online launch. "We've already exceeded projections. The waitlist for the sustainable denim line is 3 months long." "And Pierce's report?" I asked. "Thorough, detailed, actually spotted a potential issue with one of the suppliers." I nodded. remembering how Pierce used to rush through everything, taking shortcuts just like Sophia. Ms. Wilkinson? A young designer approached nervously. I just wanted to say, your story inspired me to speak up about my own designs being stolen. Thank you. As she walked away, Hadley joined us. That's the third person today. You're becoming quite the industry hero. I'm not a hero, I said, straightening a display. I just refuse to let someone else's greed destroy what I built. My phone buzzed. A text from Pierce. Sophia's at the back door, wants to make a scene, security handling it. Need to deal with that? Clark asked, reading over my shoulder. No, I replied, putting my phone away. She's not my problem anymore. The only person she can hurt now is herself. I walked to the center of the store, watching customers examine each piece with genuine interest, scanning QR codes, asking questions about sustainability. This was what I'd always wanted, not just success, but success with integrity. Sophia had tried to steal my designs, but she could never steal what really mattered: the knowledge, the passion, and the determination to do things right. And that's why we're launching the Phoenix Foundation, I concluded, stepping away from the podium. The audience of young designers erupted in applause. After the presentation, a line formed of aspiring entrepreneurs, each with their own stories of stolen designs and broken trust. I listened to each one, remembering how it felt to stand where they stood. You're giving them hope, Hadley said, watching me hand out business cards, and resources to fight back. Plus legal support, Mallory added, organizing applications for our mentorship program. The Foundation's lawyers are already handling 3 cases. A familiar figure approached through the crowd. Pierce, now head of quality control, carried a tablet with our latest production reports. The sustainable denim line is exceeding expectations, he reported, and the new ethical manufacturing facility is ready for inspection. Good, I nodded. How's the apprenticeship program going? Full capacity. We actually had to start a waiting list. He hesitated. I saw Sophia's new collection online. The one she launched in Milan? I raised an eyebrow. With the inspired by designs? They're not selling, he said quietly. No major retailer will stock them. Because they know copying others' work doesn't end well. I turned to greet another young designer. Ms. Wilkinson? The girl couldn't have been more than 20. I read about how you fought back, but what if we don't have the resources you had? That's exactly why we created the foundation, I explained, to provide legal support, mentorship, and seed funding to designers who want to do things the right way. Clark appeared, excitement evident in his usually calm demeanor. Rachel, the Sustainability Board just voted. We're getting the Innovation Award. For the zero-waste production method? Mallory asked. No, he grinned. For changing the industry's approach to design theft. They're implementing our transparency protocols as standard practice. I felt a tap on my shoulder, a reporter from Women's Wear Daily. Quick question about Sophia's latest interview, she said. She claims you're using your influence to blacklist her. No comment needed, I replied. The industry simply prefers working with authentic designers. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have mentees waiting. As the reporter left, Pierce spoke up. Mom called. Wants to know if you'll come to dinner Sunday. Will Sophia be there? No, she's not welcome anymore. Mom finally saw the truth. I considered this. Our mother had initially sided with Sophia, calling me vindictive for pressing charges. Tell her I'll bring dessert, I said finally. The rest of the afternoon passed quickly. I reviewed portfolios, offered advice, and connected promising designers with ethical manufacturers. Last appointment, Mallory announced. A designer whose work was stolen by a major fast fashion brand. The young woman who entered my office looked defeated, just as I had once been. Tell me everything, I said, gesturing to the chair across from me. As she shared her story, I opened my laptop and began typing. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Emailing our legal team. You have a case." I looked up at her, and more importantly, you have allies now. "I can't afford—" "The foundation covers the costs," I explained. "All we ask is that when you succeed, you help other designers fight back too." After she left, clutching our legal team's contact information, Hadley brought in a package. "From Sophia," she said. "Security checked it." Inside was a letter and a USB drive. The letter read, "You won, I'm sorry. Here's proof of everyone who helped me steal your designs. Forward this to legal," I told Hadley, "and send copies to the ethics board." "Isn't this enough?" Pierce asked. "She's admitting everything." "This isn't about punishment anymore," I replied. "It's about changing the system that made her think she could get away with it." The sun was setting as we left the office. Through the window, I could see our store across the street, still busy with customers. "Ready for tomorrow's mentor session?" Mallory asked, checking the schedule. "Actually," I smiled, "I think it's time to expand the program. Call Clark. Let's discuss opening branches in other cities." "More locations means helping more designers." Hadley nodded approvingly. "Exactly." I watched a young designer leaving our store, sketching furiously in her notebook. Because success shouldn't require choosing between ethics and profit. Pierce held the door open. "Sunday dinner, then?" "Sunday dinner," I agreed. "But first, we have an industry to change." Walking to my car, I passed our window display. The Phoenix logo caught the evening light, casting a warm glow on the designs below, each one a testament to doing things right, no matter how hard the path. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just proving others wrong. It's creating a world where their mistakes can't happen again.